Yeah, the topic that was asked to, or suggested that I speak about this morning is the militarisation of the port. It's one of the issues that we've brought to the electorate, and it's a sort of issue of war and peace at the international level, which sort of reaches right down into the Port Adelaide area. Like if you read the news reports about what's happening in Port Adelaide and then compare it with the other headlines in the newspaper, you'll see the linkages. Like last year there was the visit from President Obama and the announcement that there'd be another base constructed in Darwin to permanently station Marines and to enable warfighting material to be transported. This week there was a defence options paper prepared by military top brass, and the suggestion is that there be more bases established in Australia, the expansion of existing ones, and a facility for huge amphibious ships to come to Port Adelaide, so troops could be boarded with warfighting equipment. There was a Murdoch report. The journalist was quite direct, pretty blunt. He said that the intention is to beef up defences against China. And I know that there'll be a range of opinions here about China, but whatever you think, China is our biggest trading partner. It's credited with insulating us from the worst of the global capitalist economic crisis. I know some people are suffering nonetheless, and as far as I can see, that it's not displaying any aggressiveness towards its neighbours near or far, including Australia. There was the ALP National Conference, and we saw Premier Weatherill voting to overturn ALP policy on exports of uranium to India, and the intention is that we join the US in breaking the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and the US is doing that to inveigle India into a war-fighting alliance against China. Rand and Foley, whose office used to be just over there, they dragged out their retirement so that they could bed down the Olympic Dam uranium mine. And there's another report in the paper that exports of uranium out of Port Adelaide times in years to come, in the next few years. And they'll be going to places like India, and they'll be going back to Fukushima when that nuclear power plant comes back online. There's been the enticement, multi-million-dollar enticements for Techport, for weapons making industries to come there. When Weatherill and the Federal Industry Minister went to Detroit to encourage or beg General Motors to keep building vehicles there, I understand that they'll be obliged to do that. But when he returned, Premier Weatherill said that he'd secured a contract to manufacture titanium pins which would go in the tail fins of the Joint Strike Fighter, which I think now is widely recognised as being a dud. It was a technological solution for a Russian plane which was never built. Hugely expensive, and it joins a long list of duds like the Collins class submarine. You know, I don't know how to convey to people just what a bottomless pit of public expenditure that is. It's extremely wasteful. Local schools are forming partnerships with weapons manufacturers. Aberfoyle Park, as we know, and we drew attention to during last year, is in a partnership with Raytheon, which makes missiles. There was a policy announced before the last state election that there would be 18 high schools in South Australia develop a specialised curriculum so as they could feed the personnel needs of the military industries that are being established in the state. The Lefevre High School was to be renamed as South Australia's first naval college, or naval high school. Since then, they've changed that, and it is now a maritime high school or maritime college. And I like to think that the campaign that we ran against this last time during the state election for the seat of Leigh embarrassed them into toning down the stridency of the militarism that's going on in South Australia. I'm sure the local teachers would have had a hand in that as well. So I'm happy that there's been that decision in a sense, although I'm not very happy about the subterfuge of having a essentially military college named as a maritime one at the same time. So I've got a picture building up of a US build-up in the Indo-Pacific, the Asia-Pacific, and it's coming right back down here to Port Adelaide. And so for people who've been to Sarah's last night, you know, because I made the same point to them, that people used to get worked up about this. You know, they used to be angry that we're being sort of treated like a vassal state, and we're sort of devoting all of these resources that we need elsewhere to pursuing US economic and geopolitical priorities. We've had some advice from people that we should go soft on this issue, promote another important issue instead, which is the pollution challenges before the people of Port Adelaide. They say that these kids will be getting high-skilled jobs in high-paid positions, but our point is that government dollars are much better invested in employment in civilian areas. There's been endless studies conducted on that. So, you know, the thing is too that you know, if we were to go small target on these questions, we might as well join one of those other parties, open up the books for corporate sponsorship, and just get to the end of the queue with the careerists to get a position. We've chosen to go down a much harder road, which is to build resistance to this at the grassroots and the united front, to ensure that our kids get jobs in peaceful industries, you know, providing the services, the sustainable energy, public transport and social infrastructure that we need. It's a huge job, and I'm glad to see that we're not alone. Left Unity for a long time has taken up a very principled stand, very strong stand on these issues, and we've done joint actions like that action at the Defence Industry Expo last year. So just to wrap up, by February 11 I'll probably end up as a bit of a footnote in all of this, but another way to look at it is that another strong contribution that we've made around this issue of militarisation of Port Adelaide. Thanks.
Respect the port, its people,
its history,
and its environment.
Vote 1, Bob Britton.